Now, a few years ago, I interviewed Chameleonaire,
You did?
the rapper Chameleonaire.
I remember him.
Yeah, you're a good buddy.
Yeah.
Now, he was wearing a hat during the interview.
As are you.
As am I. And I asked him if his hat was bulletproof, and he denied it. Chameleonaire denied his hat was bulletproof.
You should never admit to something like that, because if somebody told me, like, if you told me your hat was bulletproof, I'd put a cap in you right now just to check it out.
So in your interactions with Chameleonaire, did you find out if he had a bulletproof hat? And do you have a bulletproof hat?
Yeah, that never came up in discussion. We got to co-present at the American Music Awards, and
Was he wearing a hat?
he wasn't wearing a hat. But if he had been wearing a hat, that would be my first question, obviously.
Have you ever had a bulletproof hat? Would you ever consider that? Have you ever seen any bulletproof stuff?
I don't think I've ever seen a bulletproof hat. What does it look like?
Well, I guess the one that 50 Cent wears.
Is that really a bulletproof
Like
hat?
he has a bulletproof hat. They all have bulletproof hats. Maybe it's Lloyd Banks wears that. Are you down with the G Unit?
I am down with a G unit, G.
Weird Al Yankovic, opening acts. I've looked at the opening acts you've had on some of your tours, and some of them have been pretty interesting. For instance, I saw billed Weird Al, chainsaw carving
Yeah, I think that was on this tour. You know, we play
in Utah.
we play an occasional state fair, so it's like we'll be billed next to the chainsaw carvers. Weird Al and tractor pull.
Have there been any other things? Like, have you played with puppet shows? What have you played with over the years? Who opens for Weird Al? Does anybody open for Weird Al and cover Weird Al before Weird Al can come up on stage?
We used to have all sorts of opening acts. For this tour, it's an evening with Al, because the show's almost 2.5 hours long.
Except the chainsaw carving.
Except, that was on a whole different stage, But there's only so much weirdness that people can take in any given finite amount of time. So, we figure that's enough for now.
Weird Al, I was asking you about Blowfly, and people don't want to get confused between you and Blowfly, but isn't there an entire website out there called, like, Not Al Songs? Like, people get confused. Every parody song is not written by you. Or is it, Al?
Well...
You want to take credit for that.
Yeah, I know. The truth is it's not. Like, I've been around so long that anytime people hears a parody song, they go, oh, must be Weird Al Yankovic. And so I get credit for a lot of the songs on those peer-to-peer file-sharing sites.
Now, what particular ones have you been impressed by, the songs you've taken credit for, which really maybe you shouldn't take credit for, that people yell from the audience?
Who does? Bob Rivers and Mark Davis. There's a few people out there that actually do really quality stuff. And if it's good... Sure, I'll take credit for it, but 98% of the stuff out there that's got my name on it that isn't really by me isn't really so good. You know what I mean? You do know what I mean, don't you?
I do, Weird Al. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Now, winding up here, who is and who are the Harry Fox Agency?
Harry Fox Agency would be an agency wherein songs would be cleared. So if you need to clear a song for a cover version, you just call up Harry and go, Harry, come on, work with me here, work with me, Harry! Harry!
After all these years, do you get a good deal with Harry?
Harry and I, we're sort of like this. East Side!
Weird Al, pirates are big these days, aren't they? Pirates are big.
They're huge. They're large.
What sort of pirates are you integrating into your act, Weird Al?
It's sort of subliminal pirates. I don't want to be too obvious or overt about my inclusion of pirates in the live show. So, in fact, we offer a cash reward to somebody who can spot the pirate.
I was wondering, a concertina. What is a concertina, and would you ever integrate a concertina into your act? I'm calling your act. Are you insulted by that, Weird Al?
I am, but please continue to do so. A concertina is similar to an accordion, although most concertinas have buttons on both sides. I only usually play buttons on the left side and play the keyboard on the right side. But with a concertina, it would be buttons on both sides. And that would be... Did I spit on you? I'm so sorry, very sorry.
No, he didn't. I was going to say that's very piratish. Pirates loved the concertina, didn't they?
No, they did. I'm more apt to incorporate a parrot into my act than a concertina, because a concertina, it's too many buttons. Too many buttons, my friend.
Weird Al, who is your favorite polka artist these days? I was hoping you might say Walter...
Ostanek?
From
Canada.
From Canada!
Yes, he would be my favorite.
He's won lots of Grammys, hasn't he?
Tons.
And you've won some Grammys.
I have.
And you've made some people mad by winning Grammys, haven't you, Weird Al?
Yes.
For instance, you beat comedian David Cross. You beat him out.
Was he up for a polka Grammy?
No, he was up for a comedy Grammy.
And is he mad now?
Well, he might be, and I'm going to be interviewing him shortly. And I was wondering, could you give a little message to David Cross to say, sorry, I beat you for the Grammy?
Yes, David, I'm a big fan, and you know I am, and we're close friends, and I'm just very sorry that you didn't win the Grammy a couple years ago, and you really should have, because I suck. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Al, I didn't mean to bring this instant up.
Why did I have to win that Grammy? Why? Why? David hates me now.
You've been on panels with him since so.
Really?
Yeah, I thought you did some panel with him a little while back. Look, have you judged stuff? You're a judge for a lot of stuff, aren't you?
You know, I think we're judging some song contest together, but we haven't done it yet. So we're on a theoretical panel together.
So we'll see if he comes up to you now.
It's a virtual panel.
And you are Weird
Al Yankovic.
Now, Weird Al, you wouldn't be Weird Al without Dr. Demento in some ways, right? Dr. Demento is why you're here today.
In some ways, yeah, you could probably say that if Dr. Demento never existed, I would be living in an alternate reality.
From the guy who brought you fish heads, he brings you Weird Al. What can you tell me about the fish? Who else has Dr. Demento brought to the world? You, Weird Al. And tell about the fish head. What about the fish head?
The fish heads, Barnes and Barnes. Art Barnes and Artie Barnes. And actually, Art Barnes, a.k.a. Bill Mooney, is the guy, little Will Robinson on Lost in Space, and he's the guy that introduced me to my wife. So everything's interconnected, the fabric of reality. It blows my mind.
When you're on the Tom Snyder show, your drummer is the same drummer you have today, right?
It is, and I should point out that today, I don't know when this is airing, but today, this very day, September 14th, 2007, I was almost in the 20th century again, September 14th, 2007, today, is the 27th anniversary of me meeting John Bermuda Schwartz, my drummer.
It's amazing looking at footage of him. What is he playing on the Tom Snyder show? It's like he's doing all these weird noises and pounding on something. What is that? What did you do back then?
That was my accordion case, my friend. He was on the floor, on his knees, banging on my accordion case, squeaking bulb horns, blowing into siren whistles and duck calls, and just being really silly. I had no idea he was going to do that. He made a real fool out of himself.
Lastly here, Weird Al, record covers. In the United States of America and Canada, you can choose your record covers, can't you?
More or less, yes.
I heard that in other territories, other people choose your record covers. Is that true?
Perhaps in some. Are you thinking of anything in particular?
No, I mean, when you've seen your records from other countries, do they have different covers than you intended?
Oh, I think like in Japan, in Japan, yeah, sometimes I when I go over there and I see my record albums, I do this. I go, what? Or, huh? Sort of like that.
You mentioned Kenny G right off the top of the interview. Would you consider him replacing Michael Richards in UHF Part 2, the sequel?
You know, I've got to call into Kenny G as we speak, and you know, we'll see if the long-standing feud has cooled down and see if he's willing to take over the role of Stanley Spadowski.
UHF, where, if you notice, we have this little poster up here, the fabulous poodles. Are there not poodles in UHF?
There are poodles in UHF. Poodles that can fly or attempt to fly.
Or get thrown off Sundeck.
That, yes.
That's what we brought this here for you today.
Thank you.
Pink, the fabulous poodle.
Very nice.
There are quite a few. Will there be any poodles tonight at the gig, Weird Al?
The pirates are holding poodles under their arms. So look for those as well.
With the concertina.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much, Weird Al. Anything else you want to add to the people out there at all?
Yes.
Why should people care about Weird Al Yankovic?
I don't know. Because I floss regularly, and I think dental hygiene is very important.
Well, thanks much, Weird Al. Keep on rocking in the free world and do-do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Almost do-do-do-do-do.
Do-do-do.